If you are here today, that is great. We are thrilled to see you. Come on back next Wednesday, noon Wednesday, May 3rd. We are doing a live spoiler discussion of Beau is Afraid.
Yes.
We will discuss all the things that have traumatized us these many weeks. We have questions. I'm guessing you also have questions about Ari Aster's new film. So come on back. We have a link to that down below to come and join us. Come and bookmark it. Make sure you don't forget noon Pacific time, Wednesday, May 3rd. Beau is Afraid. So
we call it the Lupone Zone.
I think we should rename our entire channel the Lupone Zone. That must exist somewhere already.
Probably.
Right?
I'm sure somebody beat us to it.
Yikes. Okay, so speaking of hype, all of the CinemaCon stuff happened this week.
Yes.
Many presentations and trailers and people walking out on stage to thunderous applause. Chief among them, Christopher Nolan showed early footage of Oppenheimer, which blew everybody away, that it looks so fantastic. It's just thrilling and tense. Again, you've got to take all of these things with a grain of salt, because the folks who are reporting out of CinemaCon either are there to sell tickets, or they are reporting for a site or for a channel where they are part of the hype machine quite frequently. Not all, but many. So,
a friend of mine texted me this week, every movie at CinemaCon is the greatest film ever made.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they renamed it to sound more like Comic-Con, because it's just a parade of trailers and personal appearances and hype.
It's the hype machine. But I don't doubt that Oppenheimer looks amazing. Christopher Nolan
sure,
is a craftsman. He takes these things very seriously. His movies are an event. So that's coming out. But we also saw a little bit about Barbie there. So that big showdown is coming this summer, Barbie versus Oppenheimer. We will review them both. There was some early footage of Wicked, which is going to be in 2 parts.
Yes.
And I guess there's like 9 million live tulips? Is that the number I saw?
Oh, I don't know. In the movie? Wow.
Yeah, like a lot. But it's poppies. Aren't they poppies in Wizard of Oz?
In the Wizard of Oz, they're poppies, but, this is the prequel, so, anything's possible.
Yeah. Also, Dune Part 2, we saw some early stuff from that, and David Gordon Green's Exorcist reboot. It's a reboot, right?
I think, I don't know.
For Blumhouse.
I wish David Gordon Green would knock it off. Like, I love his indie work, I was just, my review of Prince Avalanche came up in my Facebook memories, which I was like, oh yeah, I miss that David Gordon Green, and not the one who, like, poops on existing horror franchises.
Yeah. I even like his, like, dumb stoner comedies, right? Like Pineapple Express. Like, yes. I would welcome that David Gordon Green back. I liked him. He was a good guy. We have the trailer for The Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Speaking of prequels.
What does my mentor do besides bring me roses?
I do my best to take care of you.
You really want to take care of me in that arena?
Right.
Boom! Hunger Games!
Yes. This comes out, this is like 60-something years prior to the events of the Hunger Games.
Right.
And it's explaining how President Snow became President Snow when he was still just a teenager, and mentoring a young tribute from District 12. Did you like the Hunger Games? I can't remember. Did you like those movies?
I did, actually. I never read the books. I thought the first one was okay, but then I thought it actually got... They kind of they fell together more in the sequels. But yeah, I thought it was a fun franchise. I had a good time with it.
And such a strange world, right? Like, so specific in the cruelty and the way you have to survive and all that. So I think I liked them too. I know I read at least the first couple of the books. Anyway, so that is coming out November 17th with Rachel Zegler starring in that. Rihanna is going to play Smurfette.
Why not?
She can do it all. I mean, I don't want to ever put Rihanna in a box.
Oh, heavens no.
I think she can do it all.
And weirdly enough, I liked the last Smurfs movie, because there were those 2 terrible sort of live action animation hybrids, remember, where they were running around New York City with like Neil Patrick Harris and stuff, and those were terrible. But then they made just a straight up animated movie where like Smurfette goes on a vision quest to find out her purpose, and like finds this mirror Smurf village that's all women, unlike where she was the one girl in the Smurf village. And it was actually pretty good. I remember giving that a positive review, being shocked because I was not expecting anything. So More of that, please, if we're going to keep this franchise going.
I had totally forgotten about Smurf Amazon Island. I had totally forgotten about that, and that's what it is. Yeah, so that will be that will be out in the world eventually. Bob Odenkirk is going to be on The Bear season 2. I have heard all amazing things about The Bear.
Oh, you haven't watched The Bear yet?
No, is it good?
Oh, it's so good. Oh, Christy, you should catch up on The Bear, and let's do season 2 for Patreon. It's so good.
Okay, so first I gotta watch 3 seasons plus of Succession. Every weekend, Chris and I are like, this is the weekend we're gonna binge Succession.
Look, Succession will be there for us. We'll get to it. Maybe the writers will go on strike, and that'll be our moment. But no, The Bear is fabulous. I think you'd really love it.
Okay, cool. Well, I look forward to that then. I'll make a point of doing that. James Corden's last episode was last night. It was an all-star cavalcade of tributes from Tom Cruise and Harry Styles and Will Ferrell and all the other late night guys came and celebrated him. So, did
Tom Cruise mow his lawn and hand him a lemonade?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't watch. Is that a thing that should happen?
No. That was from the last episode of the Rosie O'Donnell show. Remember? Because she made that joke after she came out, and people were like, "Well, if you're a lesbian, how come you always talk about Tom Cruise?" And she goes, "What? I want him to mow my lawn and give me a lemonade." And so on the last episode of her talk show, he actually pulls up in a lawnmower and hands her a lemonade.
No, they sang together, as one does with
James Corden.
Right.
Indeed, yes.
Adele was his last carpool karaoke. Right. Jafar Panahi has left Iran.
Woo!
For the first time in 14 years.
Yes. This is a guy who was under house arrest for a lot of that time and actual prison for about 6 months, right?
Yeah.
But has not stopped making films and arguably has made some of his best films while being politically officially forbidden from doing so. So yeah, this is very exciting news. I would totally understand if he didn't go back, but we'll see what's happening. Iran is changing. In the meantime, if you guys haven't seen No Bears, it is now streaming on the Criterion Channel. His most recent film, which was on both of our top 10 lists, or
yours for sure.
Yeah.
We reviewed it though, so we have a review of that. It's very good. Yeah, I love the lengths to which he has gone to keep telling stories, making a movie in secret and putting it on a USB drive and hiding it in a cake and getting the cake taken out of his house. So we don't know where he is or where he's going. There was a photo of him at an airport with luggage. So we know he has left Iran for the first time in a long time. There was speculation that he's on the Cannes jury.
Ooh.
Maybe that's why he has left, but that's not for certain. And then Jerry Springer died at 79.
Yes. Leaving behind a very mixed legacy, I want to say. I've seen some really interesting things online where people were like, yes, a lot of his show was craven and exploitative, but for queer people, it offered a rare opportunity to see ourselves in a media landscape that very often ignored us, even if it was in a kind of a cheesy format. There was a really great documentary last year called Framing Agnes. I don't know if you saw it. It premiered at Sundance, and it's about this actual early trans study that happened at USC or UCLA, I forget now which, in the 60s. And they structured the film with modern day trans performers like Angelica Ross, reenacting these interviews, and they set them up as kind of a Mike Wallace thing, Mike, his 50s TV show. And one of the people in the film talks about how the talk show format is important because even those sleazy talk shows of the 80s and 90s was, for a lot of young trans people, the first time we saw ourselves on television.
Even though it was probably as a look at this weirdo kind of
Yes, basically. Yes,
okay.
but you still had actual trans people who, between all the shouting and the whatnot,
chair throwing.
Exactly. We're getting their stories out there. So, it's like I said, a mixed legacy. His movie Ringmaster is better than it had any right to be.
Yeah. And just think about so many kids, generations of kids who, when you're staying home sick or pretending to be homesick, you got Jerry Springer, you got Maury Povich and
Jenny
Sally.
Jones.
I totally forgot about Jenny Jones until all these Springer obits came out. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the Mount Rushmore of cheap daytime TV.
Exactly. Dave says she has a cooking blog now, apparently.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Anyway, Jerry Springer died at his home in suburban Chicago, age 79. Rest in peace.